right. Are you all ready? Hi, Molly. Are you all ready? Oh, it's the Maya section. We have a whole Maya section. It's so nice.
Maya's cousins.
I'm glad we have categories. We're going to get started. I just wanted to check. Are you ready to go? Okay, so you know what? I get scared too sometimes. So sometimes if I get scared, I mess up too sometimes. I do. If you get scared, just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath. Okay, guys. So we're going to get started. So remember how we're supposed to sit on the bima? Okay, so we're going to get started with the service. And you guys are going to follow along, right, with your prayers? And you're going to help lead the service?
Yeah.
I'll say all of class is going to do this now, and I'll have you stand up, and I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then you'll get started, okay? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, got it? All right, so if you have questions, I'm just right here, okay? Okay. And he's over there. We're right here. We got you. Okay. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
It is so wonderful to get to be with you all this evening as we not only celebrate Shabbat and welcome Shabbat in together as a community, but as we also celebrate with our Aleph class as they help us to lead the service and as we celebrate their consecration. And so they have been, we'll say more about that later, but they have been doing such an amazing job this year and in some cases over many years, learning Hebrew and Torah and about Judaism. And today we get to celebrate another stop along their journey as they enter into this learning ever more deeply and as they really enter into our community. So it is such a joy to get to be with all of you today. We also have folks joining us on live stream, and so we hope that you've been able to get on okay. If not, I guess you wouldn't hear me talking to you right now. But we're grateful that we can have folks join us both in person and from afar, and that we can all be able to celebrate together. So we are going to get started on page 5 in your Siddur with Shalom Aleichem. And Shalom Aleichem is a prayer when we welcome angels into our hearts and into our lives. And we do this in lots of ways, both in real life of welcoming people into our homes sometimes on Shabbat. And it's a great time to also think about those that we love and how we want to kind of welcome their presence into our community in this moment. So stand up, Aleph class. Okay. It's good to follow along. Do you want to follow?
Books.
Yeah, page 5.
Get your book.
You ready? Achad, Shtayim, Shalosh. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon,
Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon.
Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh
Baruch Hu.
Continue with our service on page 10 with Yedid Nefesh.
Yedid Nefesh, Aharachaman, Mishuch Aldach, El Ritzonach, Yarutz Avdach, Imuhaya, Ishtachaveh, Muhadarach, Ki Ye'erav Lo, Yedidutah, Minof Etzuf, Bechol Ta'am. Yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yada-dai-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, yada-dai-dai-dai-dai, as we're moving into Kabbalat Shabbat, this is the part of our service every week where we are meant to really allow ourselves to settle into this moment of prayer, this moment of community, and this moment of Shabbat in a way that we might not take that same sort of time during the week. During the week, we might find that we're really busy, rushing around from school to Hebrew school to dance to sports to tutoring and all of these different activities, and it could be a little hectic. And so if we take a moment to be grateful or to pray, it's usually very short. But it's so nice during Shabbat to be able to have this kind of community time together where we can really take that breath and really settle into this space together. And so we have these extra psalms added right before our Mariv service by our rabbis to remind us to slow down a little bit, to remember to kind of leave behind the week and to allow ourselves to move into this other sacred special time. So on the top of page 13, actually on page 13 and 14, we find the words of Psalm 96. And in a moment we'll sing the end of Psalm 96, which we often sing together. But I wanted to introduce a melody for the beginning of Psalm 96 tonight. So the English is, sing to God a new song, sing to God all the earth, sing to God, praise God's name day after day, tell of God's deliverance, salvation, the way in which God is there for us. So I hope that every single day we might be able to have a moment where we are helped in our lives in some way. Maybe it is someone that we love being there for us. Maybe we learn something new. And in a little bit, I'll ask you to share some of those special things with me. But as we sing these words, I want to invite you to think about ways in which maybe today or this week that maybe you were helped by someone else in the world. Maybe that was a way of God helping you, or maybe it was just a friend or a family member. Depends how you think about those things. But I want you to think about those things as we sing this. And so this might be a little new for you, but I hope that you can join me in singing. And maybe we'll do a little repeat after me in the beginning, and then we'll just dive right in, okay? It's the first time doing it, so We'll see how it goes, and you'll help. Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash, just that part. Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash. Next part. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai. You're fine. Baruch Hu Shemo. Shiru Ladonai. Baruch Hu Shemo. Last line. Basaru miyom liyom Yeshuato. One more time. Basaru miyom liyom Yeshuato. Now the whole thing through. Shiru Ladonai, Shiru Shir Hadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basaru miyom liyom Yeshuato. Last line, one more time. Basaru miyom liyom Yeshuato. So it's good to learn new songs sometimes and see, students, you're not the only ones learning something new. We all get to learn new things all the time. And it's not always easy, but you did a good job with that. And so as we move through Psalm 96 toward the end on page 14, we come to the words, Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz, that recognize all of the ways in which the earth can kind of rejoice in different ways. And maybe we've seen that happen when a big wave crashes on the shore or something amazing happens and you see a beautiful sunset. So I want to ask all of you, as we're moving into Shabbat and as we get to celebrate together, if there was anything particularly joyful or special that happened in your life this week, that maybe you could share that joy with the rest of us, and maybe you'll be brave and share that out loud with our community. Pierce. You got to babysit a puppy? Oh my goodness, what was the puppy's name? Chewy? Was it a cute puppy? Yeah? Did he do a good job? He did? That's amazing. And what? And you have, what? Oh, and Hulu. Oh, so you had two Lulu. Oh, so you're a puppy, right? Yeah. Awesome. Nice job, guys. Maya. You were told you're going to Disney World. Oh my goodness gracious. When do you get to go? So like really soon. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to hear all about it, Goldstein. Yeah, Maya. Oh, nice to spend special time with your nanny with special food. Yeah, Molly.
My friend has a 3D printer and she makes stuff for me and my friends.
Oh, and did that happen this week? Or you're just really excited about it in general?
This week, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so nice that she shares what she has so that you can have special things too. Julie Goldstein, I don't usually just call on people about them, asking them to share special things that happen in their life. But can I put you on the spot and ask what special thing happened in your life this week?
You want to tell them, Harrison? No, I had the pleasure of being admitted to the U.S. Supreme Court bar on Wednesday. I had the honor of my father moving me in, and it was a really cool opportunity to see a Supreme Court argument. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So, yeah, it was a huge
I think that's pretty cool too. So I don't usually put people on the spot in this moment, but for something like that, I know, that is like a dream come true.
very cool. Very, very cool.
We are honored to have you as a part of our community, and mazel
If
tov.
any cases before the Supreme Court, you let me know. So.
You're our gal, yeah. But really, I mean, what a beautiful moment and blessing for both of you. To be able to experience such a thing in one's lifetime is just remarkable, and to be able to share that with your father, with your daughter, I mean, truly so special.
It was really cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Alex.
I looked at old pictures of my puppy.
Oh, that's so special. I'm so glad you have all those pictures. That's great. Yes, Maya.
Does this Jewish school have an anthem? A Jewish anthem?
That's a good question. So our school does not specifically have an anthem, though I think maybe we need to write one. But the Jewish people does have an anthem, which I know you've started learning, because Israel has a song that they sing, and sometimes we could maybe think about that as our anthem.
Is it an anthem?
Yay, maybe.
Depends
Does
who you
anyone?
ask.
It depends who you ask. Does anyone else have anything special to share from their week? Rose.
Me and Alex have some time to spend with our mom and
Oh, yay. I love special family time, and I love naming that as a joyful experience and something really special. Zoe, was your hand up? Did you want to share something?
same thing as Maya.
Yeah. Mayan, did you want to share something special from your week?
At school, I got to go outside when I was 5.
You got to play outside in the mud? Awesome. That's pretty great. Harrison? I didn't hear him. What?
He said I'm going to Disney World.
I'm going to Disney World. More Suzanne.
This was a wonderful chance to reconnect with Moradiana since we taught in 2019 to 2020 together, and this was our first class service dinner since 2020.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's been a really special thing.
So nice to be back together again. Yeah, Moradiana.
Molly's brother Zach, we had him, it was like the last year, so we were talking at dinner time over, and it was great.
Oh, that's so great.
And I'll add something about that.
Yes, Annette.
Remember, Deanna was my student when she was in middle school.
So the door by door, right? From one generation to the next. So the student becomes a teacher, and we get to teach generations and multiple family members. It's always so special. So I encourage you to continue to think about things that you might want to share with your family members, and do that throughout Shabbat. I hope you all can create new special memories together. And I'm going to invite the Aleph class to please rise. And they are going to help lead us in Yismechu Hashamayim at the red arrow.
Yismechu Hashamayim,
Hashamayim,
Yismechu Hashamayim,
Hashamayim,
Yismechu Hashamayim,
V'tagel
Haaretz, Yismechu
Hashamayim,
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 Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel Haaretz, Yeram Hayam, Yeram Hayam, Yeram Hayam, Umelo, Yeram Hayam, Yeram Hayam, Yeram Hayam, Umelo.
We continue on page 14, the 5 lines up from, no, is that right? The first
16?
time? 16, 4 lines up from the bottom in the Hebrew or in the transliteration.
Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, O Yisrael Simcha. O Yisrael Simcha. Tzadik Bo Yishrei Lesimcha. Bo Yishrei Lesimcha.
We turn to page 23 as we prepare to move into Lachadodi. And as we sing these words, and the Aleph class will lead us in Lachadodi in just a moment, we're reminded that we are supposed to be so excited to greet Shabbat, so excited to celebrate Shabbat, that we actually learn that, what? Oh. But wait, we're so excited that we're going to keep you waiting even longer. I missed page 21. We're going to turn to page 21 for Psalm 29, and then stay excited, because then we're going to get to Lachadodi.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu Ladonai B'nei Elim, Havu Ladonai Kavod Va'oz, Havu Ladonai Kivod Shemot, Ishtachavu Ladonai B'chadrat Kodesh, Kol Adonai Al Hamayim, El HaKavod Hirim Adonai Al Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai Ba'koach, Kol Adonai Behadar, Kol Adonai Shover Arazim, Vaishaver Adonai et Arze Halvanon, Vayakizim Kemo Eigel, Lebanon V'Sirion Kemo V'in Rimim, Kol Adonai Chotzev Lavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yechol El Hayalot, Vayechesof Yeharot, Uvehechalo Kulo Merkavod, Adonai La'amavuyash, Shavayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Li'amo Yitin, Adonai Yevarech et Amo V'Shalom.
Sometimes we just have to sing certain psalms, certain ways, at certain times, because they're certain people's favorites. We continue now on page 23 with Lachadodi. So I hope you're still excited. Are you still excited?
Yes.
Okay. So we learned that the Kabbalists in Sfat would be so excited to celebrate Shabbat that they wouldn't just go into their synagogues and sing prayers and wait for Shabbat to come to them. And they wouldn't just go sit at their Shabbat tables and wait for Shabbat to come to them. They would actually run out into the fields when it was time for Shabbat to start so that they could greet Shabbat, could greet one another and say Shabbat Shalom. So that is what we bring. That's the energy that we bring to this prayer, I hope, even as we yawn. That's the energy that we bring to this prayer. And when we get up at the end to greet the Shabbat bride, I'll tell you when to get up for the last verse. That's what we can imagine. We can imagine what it would be like to be out in the fields, greeting one another, greeting Shabbat, and welcoming this special sacred time into our lives. Page 23.
Likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekavela, Lechadoti likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, v'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litzilah. Lecha, Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, meiro
Shabbat tefillah.
Lecha,
Lecha,
Dodi,
Dodi,
Lecha, Dodi, Likrat Kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha, Dodi, Likrat Kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
I invite the rest of you, if you are comfortable and able to do so, to please rise and face the door as we turn to page 25 for the last verse.
Mo'i v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha uv'tohola, toch emunei am segula, bo'i hala, bo'i hala. Lecha, Dodi, Lecha, Dodi, Likrat Kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha, Dodi, Likrat Kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
You may be seated. So I am going to invite Moira Deanna to come forward now so that she can introduce the special presentations that each of our Aleph students have before we move into our Mariv, or evening service. That's a good way to do that, Molly, to just put it behind you.
Shabbat Shalom. It is so great to be here in person with everyone to celebrate the accomplishment of your children at their Aleph consecration. We have spent much time this year learning Hebrew and prayers, engaging in learning about Jewish holidays and how holidays are celebrated in our homeland of Israel, and learning about the beginning events we read about in the first book of our Torah. We recently talked about this week's Parshat HaShavua, the Torah portion of the week, which is titled Shemot, which in Hebrew means names. This also starts the second book in our Torah, titled Exodus in English, recounting our ancestors' journey out of the land of Egypt. Each child was given a piece of text of this week's Parsha, recounting Moses' journey from being retrieved from the Nile River to becoming a prophet and one of our most famous leaders. Tonight, each child will share their illustrations related to the text, and to add on to the joyous theme of Shabbat, our students will also share a famous joke related to this Parsha. What is also special about this week's Parsha is that it starts the second book of our Torah. And just like we are starting something new in synagogue this week by starting a new book, your children are also off to a new beginning as they are officially starting their formal journey in their Jewish education. As the Aleph teacher, it has been a joy watching your children learn and grow together since the beginning of the year. I love the critical thinking and thought-provoking questions that your children ask during our Zoom Hebrew classes and Sunday class sessions on Judaica. I have loved hearing the children turn on their microphones on Zoom and sing along with our prayers that we are reviewing and learning. Most recently, their two favorites have been Vishamru and L'cha Dodi. I am so proud to see what our Aleph class has accomplished, and looking into the future, what they will continue to accomplish as the year moves along. May your children continue to go from strength to strength. Mazel tov to you and your families. I would like to give a thank you to my helper, Brenna Fox, who helps us on Sundays. Thank you, Brenna. I will also thank Maura Suzanne. Thank you for your help as educational director. And also thank you to Rabbi Roni and Cantor Benjamin as well. Thank you. And of course, thank you to our wonderful families. Can we give them a round of applause? Give your families a round of applause. And now the Aleph class will share their presentations.
Do you want to give them the microphone?
At the beginning of the Parsha Shemot, Pharaoh is... At the beginning of the Parsha Shemot, Pharaoh is scared that the Jews will overpower him and forces them to be slaves.
Pharaoh makes a ruling that all Jewish baby boys need to be thrown into the Nile River.
Yosef, who was Moses' mother, wants him to be safe. So she places him in a basket and floats him down the Nile River.
Pharaoh's daughter Ratia sees Moses and picks him up from the river. Then she brings him to the palace and raises him.
Moses grows up and is angered by how the Jewish slaves are treated. Moses eventually runs away, hears God talking to him from a burning bush, and is told that God will save the Jews.
Now, a joke relates to this week's Parsha.
Who is the richest woman in the Torah? Oh.
Say it again.
Who is the richest woman in the Torah? Batia, Pharaoh's daughter.
Why?
Because she went to the bank.
And came back with a profit.
That was real. Toda rabah to our Aleph class. That was beautiful. And I hope that maybe you could even put your pictures out so that we can see them a little bit later. We have the arcs that they made. Maybe we put it there somewhere else so that if you didn't get a chance to see it during the service, you can take a closer look. But it sounds like you are off to a great start with all of the incredible learning that you've been doing this year with more. And well, you know, that's a kind of a necessary part of being around here is to be able to both tolerate and deliver good puns. So we will continue on page 82. So flip ahead if you need the words. With Hine Matovu Manaim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachat. How wonderful it is for all of us to be here together, celebrating Shabbat and just being together in community.
Hine Matovu
Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Continue on page 28 at the red arrow with Psalm 92. Page 28. To page 39 for Baruch as we 39. Well, we flip around a little bit sometimes. Now we're on 39 as we move into our evening service and leading Baruch this evening. Is Zach still here?
Okay, I will stall. Leading this evening are some of our older siblings. So we have Lily and Rose and maybe Zach. And I'm going to ask everyone to please rise if you're comfortable and able to do so, Aleph class included, as we get ready to move into our evening service. Baruch Adonai HaMorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMorach Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. Thank you so much.
ומעביר יום ימי לילה, מבדיל בין יום ולילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעילא ועד, ברוך אדוני, המעריב הרבים.
Amen. We continue on page 40, 5 lines up from the bottom in Hebrew, or 4 lines up in the transliteration.
כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהיה יומם ולילה. בידך תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen. We turn to page 41 as we prepare for Shema and Via Hafta. And in the words of the Via Hafta, one of the things that we read each and every time we sing these words, whether or not we realize this is what we are saying, is we learn that we are supposed to have these words and these ideas kind of in our minds at all times. We're supposed to think of them when we get up in the morning, when we're at home, when we're on the way, and we're supposed to teach all of this to our children. So maybe what we're talking about is just the line of the Shema, that there's one God alone, and that's what we're supposed to believe in, pray to, and kind of connect with in our lives. Or maybe it's kind of all of this, all of Judaism, all of Jewish tradition, all of the great values and lessons that we teach our children all the time. So we can discuss, perhaps at another moment, what we think that this is of Via Hafta. But for now, I want to just say thank you, families, for sharing this holy task with us in teaching your children, because it is such a joy and such an honor to watch them grow day after day, week after week, year after year, in some case from when they were very, very small, very, very tiny, up until today. So thank you for entrusting them to us. And I'm going to ask the Aleph class to rise as we turn to page 41. And I'm also going to ask Zach Siegel and Dahlia to come on up, because our Aleph class is going to help lead us in Shema, and our other students are going to then kind of pick up the torch and help lead Via Hafta. And when we say the Shema, there's something we're supposed to do, right, guys? Why do we cover our eyes?
So we don't get distracted.
So we don't get distracted. We can be so easily distracted in this world. So let's focus our minds and our hearts on these sacred words. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Ma'odol Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed be the glorious name forever and ever.
Via Hafta, Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha. ושכינתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Thanks, guys. You continue silently on the top of page 42.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
We turn to page 44, and in a moment we'll sing the words of Micha Mocha. So there's several places in our liturgy where we recall our liberation from Egypt, and this is one that appears not just in our Torah, but that we have taken and that we also have placed into our Siddur and that we recite twice a day. We learn that when the Israelites crossed the Sea of Reeds, that Miriam, Moses' sister, as our Aleph class so beautifully taught us, Moses' sister had saved Moshe and allowed for the people to be able to be free. When they crossed the sea, we learned that Miriam, that same person, that she led all of the women in song and dance. And it was with these words that they sang. And so this is this moment that we are sort of brought back to, that we're supposed to be thinking of every time we sing these words. And so it's this week in our Torah portion, as Moradian explained, as we're entering into the book of Shemot, that this story really begins. I mean, I guess you could say it began at the very beginning, but really this is the moment where we see that the Israelites have wound up in Egypt, and now they're moving into slavery, and things aren't going so well for them. So we see that, even though they have sort of wound up in this very difficult place, there's now this new leader we learn in the Torah that doesn't remember all the great things that Joseph, who we just talked about, just learned about, all the things that he did for Egypt, all the ways in which Joseph had helped save the people. This new leader knows nothing, knows none of that, and so easily forgot all the ways in which they really should be thankful to Joseph and to the Israelites, maybe by extension, for saving them all those years ago. And in this new moment, we're sort of in a very different place. And so after the Israelites escape, and Moshe's sister Miriam leads all the people in singing these words, we are meant to kind of remember all of the ways in which it can be so easy to forget some of the good things that happen in our lives. And so it can be so easily to forget the moments where someone might have helped us previously. And it could have meant that there are times where things have been really difficult and that we don't necessarily know how we're going to get out of it. But just like, even though as we're beginning this story, things are going to get worse before they get better, God willing, when we have difficult moments in our lives, so too will they get better. And that we should look around and remember all the people who help us in our lives and show our appreciation for them, and never forget to say thank you, and never forget how it is that we kind of get to the new points in our lives each and every day. And so I think that as we're sort of reading this in our story this week, hopefully we can kind of be reminded of that in our lives, and maybe we'll kind of be brought back to that when we say Micha Mocha. So Aleph students, I'm going to ask you to rise. We're going to turn to page 44. And the Aleph students are going to help lead us in the words of Micha Mocha.
Mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha, Nedar b'Kodesh, Norah tehilot oseh ve'eleh. Malchutecha rovanecha b'keim yam lifnei Moshe zele v'yamru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emar Adonai et Yaakov, Ugulam Yechazak Mimenu, Baruch at Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
You may be seated. We turn to page 45 for Hashkivenu, which recognizes that sometimes nighttime can be a little scary when it's dark, or when we're cold, or when we're alone. Do you ever get scared like that, Maya? What? No, I'm saying sometimes we get scared like that. Sometimes I get scared in the dark. Does anyone here ever get scared in the dark? Yeah, I get scared in the dark sometimes. So nighttime can be scary. So we have this prayer in our Siddur for peace and protection, especially at night. And so as we sing these words together, we're going to sing 3 lines down in the Hebrew, Ufros Alenu Sukat Shlomecha, or also 3 lines up in the transliteration on page 45. And so it's a good time for us to kind of send some extra comfort and strength to all of those who might need a little extra peace and protection in their lives right now. And so whether it's people that you know who might be sick or who might need some extra help, or whether it's parts of the world that are going through difficult things in this moment. So we send our blessings and our prayers to all the places that might need it as we sing these words together.
Ufros Alenu Sukat, Sukat, Shlomecha, Ufros Alenu Sukat, Sukat, Shlomecha, Baruch Adonai, Harei Sukat Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'Yerushalayim.
Amen. We turn to the top of page 46, and our Aleph class is going to lead us in the words of Vishamru. Aleph class, please rise. Page 46.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein bonei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'yet ha'aretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam.
Aleph class, you can be seated. And as we move to the middle of page 46, we invite Brenna Fox to come on up to help lead Chatzi Kaddish. And Brenna is their fearless madricha, who was so excited to get to work with them again this year, and who became bat mitzvah a year and a half ago. No, a year ago. A year and a half?
Yeah.
Year and a half. Okay. All right.
Yikara, v'yikara, shmei rava.
Amen.
V'yama divra kirte, v'yamlich malchute.
V'hayechon u'yomechon Chaye decho Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv.
V'imaru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach. Leolam leomei omayah. Yivarach.
Yibarach, v'yishtabach, v'yipar, v'yitramam, v'yinaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, shmei dekusha,
Brechu.
le'ela, min kol birchata, v'shirata,
Tush bechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yalma.
v'imaru.
Amen. It's like riding a bike. Thank you, Brenna. We turn to page 47 now, and we come to our silent Amidah. So I'll ask everyone to please rise if you're comfortable and able to do so. And we're going to move through the Siddur on our own from page 47 to 54. And this is an opportunity to take some time with the prayers in Hebrew or in English or some of the poetry or commentary on the page, or also to just take a moment for yourself for some quiet and to notice the prayers in your heart. Turn to page 52, and I'll invite our Aleph class to please rise as they lead us in a prayer for peace. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom bimramav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yimaru. Amen.
You may be seated. Page 54.
Yegadavi Gedashmi Rabba, Yamani Rakher Tevim, Mikmakotevaka, Economy of Mekhan, of Kaito Bay Israel, Bagalas Magari Vimaru, Amen, Yaheshme Rabba Mavarach, Lealam Leomea Maya Yid Barach, Yet Barak Fish Makfit, Barak Torina Saint, David Salavi Slash, Miro Shabrichu, Lemiko Hadu Vishura Tushmakata, Benachamatadam, Ramia Mavimru, Amen. Take about Slot Horia to Kadu Israel, Kodama Hun Vishmavimru, Amen. Heshlam Vishmai, Kaimako Israel Vimru, Amen. Seshalom Romavia, say Shalom, Velko Israel, Krishmede Belvimru. Amen.
So I invite you to turn now in your pamphlet if you want to follow along. So if you're following with the program here on the order of prayers, it's just on the next page where it says 5 Books Strut by Rabbi Noam Katz. So our Aleph students are going to stand up and they are going to lead us in this song. And as you've heard, they've been learning a whole lot about Torah. And some of you got to be here with us on Sunday when we were up close and personal in our ark, not an elevator, where we keep the Torahs. We cleared that up. And so we got a nice view this week, and now you get to learn a little bit more about Torah. On the backup. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So I hope that you had a chance this year to read a lot of the stories in Genesis, I know already. Now we're entering into the book of Exodus. And I hope that over the next many, many years that you're here with us at BTBJ, you'll get a sense of each of those books and some of the different stories and characters and what happens to them. It's all very interesting, most of it. Some of it's less interesting. But it's all really good to learn. And, and I can't wait to continue to study with you. So we move to page 55 now. And I would love to invite Lily Goldstein to come on up to help lead us in Kiddush. Do you want to do it with me? Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'rasavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'yahava u'ratzon v'ilanu zikaro lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lemikra es kodesh zeher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta yotanu kidashta mi'ol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'yahava u'ratzon ninhaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. Nice job, Lily. Thank you so much. Woo. Now we just have to get down safely. Maybe don't get her a white bat mitzvah dress.
This is why we practice standing.
It's true. It should be white grape juice. It's like a wedding. We continue on page 56. I invite you to rise for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shapeach l'adon hakol, l'teikinu l'aliyotzer reshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzon, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, vigor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. We turn to page 58 for Mourner's Kaddish, and we remember those who have passed away recently and those who have passed on at this time in years past. Bless you. This time in our community, we observe the yahrzeits of Saul Burney, Berna Blum, Grace Blumberg, Lillian Cohen, Paul DeKoning, Abraham Donoff, Jack Berenstein, Joseph Geller, Don Goldstein, Henry Goldstein, Dora Gorin, Morris Hoffman, Frank Holland, Philip Horowitz, Louis Jockelson, Peggy Jossman, Abraham Kleinman, David Kleinman, George Kraus, Benjamin Kravitz, Gertie Miller, Seymour Simon, Bruce Singer, Morris Spear, Sam Unterberger, and Edward J. Weiss. We also send our condolences to Myra Kudash and Fred Weisberger on the passing of their brother, Stephen Weisberger. Are there any names, additional names anyone would like to share, someone you're remembering today? I invite those who are in mourning or who are observing or who are saying Kaddish to please rise. Oh yeah, Perry. Thank you. I invite those who are in mourning or who are reciting Kaddish to please rise. Yeah, Rose? Okay. Along with all those for whom it's your custom to rise in support of the mourners or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayekon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael v'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach li'olam l'omei olmaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei zekudasha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shemaya V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who dwell on earth. And we say together, amen. May the memories of all those we mention, all those who we hold in our hearts forever be a blessing to us and to all who knew them and were inspired by them. So as we move toward the conclusion of our service tonight, we have a very special presentation that we have yet to come to. And I'll invite Mo or Suzanne to come on up because we'll be getting there in just a minute. You can come on up and sit up there, yeah. So we learned in the Mishnah that there are a series of blessings that we are supposed to recite every morning when we wake up. And also there's blessings that we should recite throughout the day. Before we go to bed, there's all kinds of blessings that we're supposed to recite at all these different moments, some in a planned sort of way, and some just if we happen upon a particular occasion. And so the Mishnah is the oral Torah that was given by God at the same time as our written Torah, which we're celebrating today. And so there's a lot of additional instructions that we get in that Mishnah. So we get even more laws and more explanations of all of these later on when our rabbis continue to talk about all of this, and it all gets written down in the Talmud. So there's a discussion here and because we have to figure out kind of how to sometimes get from the instructions that we have in the Torah to really understand how to do them in our lives. Because sometimes we have like a very small piece of text, but we can't really figure out how to apply that with all the ins and outs of what we might encounter in our modern day. So we have all of these explanations. So in one of these explanations, there is a commentary on the Mishnah that is written by the Rambam. It's called Sefer HaAhava. And we learn here that each morning, before we recite the Shema, so we recited the Shema here tonight. Your kids are well equipped to say this every morning and every evening if you'd like. In the morning, before we recite the Shema, we learn that we're supposed to actually recite 3 blessings before we even get there. So, any ideas what blessings might be important to say before we even get to the Shema? What do you think, Pierce? Baruch Hu is a good guess. So, blessing God, which is what the words of the Baruch Hu are, like, blessed are you, Adonai. Yeah, that's a great guess. Jack, what do you think? Ah, you are, oh my goodness. So as soon as we open our eyes in the morning, we're supposed to say Moda Ani. We're supposed to say, thank you, God, for returning my soul. We're supposed to kind of express that gratitude that we woke up again to a new day, and that we're supposed to express gratitude and really learn to do that throughout our day. Hopefully that's not a one and done sort of thing. It's something that we do all day. What else should we maybe do in the morning before we get to Shema? What do you think, Molly?
The one after Modani, I forget what.
Elohai Neshama? No. I don't know what's after Modani in your prayer book. Do you know? Oh, the morning blessings?
No.
We could do this all day.
Do you remember which one?
The Torah, the for Torah study. Oh my goodness. Okay, we should say it is that because that's actually one of them. So these are all amazing, amazing suggestions. And so while it's true that in our prayer service we do have a lot of things that we say, this particular source says that the 3 things that are important to say, one is the blessing for Torah study, and the Shema, it is itself words of Torah. It comes from Torah. So done. Say the blessing for Torah study and say the Shema. They go together. They're like a little happy couple. Another is a blessing for praising God, for not just in general. Baruch Hu would be kind of praising God in general, but praising God specifically for teaching us Torah so that we can continue to engage with this in our lives. And the last one is a blessing that God chose us and gave us this particular Torah and all of these particular instructions, just like other people have their own ways of living in the world. This is ours. And so thank goodness that this is the tradition that we have in our lives. So in between blessings 2 and 3, in between blessings 1 and 2, there's actually this extra little piece. So after we have the blessing for Torah study, before we get to the specifics of God teaching us Torah, there's an extra line that says, may the words of your Torah, eternal our God, be sweet in our mouths and in the mouths of your people Israel. So not only should you learn Torah, but let it be that learning is sweet, that it's enjoyable, that maybe it's something that you want to come back to again and again, like you might want one brownie and then another brownie and then maybe a cookie, like you want more and more. Maybe Torah should be that amazing for us, just like that dessert is. So in the Middle Ages, we actually learn that there was a tradition that particularly when students were embarking on their study of Torah or their study of the Hebrew letters, that they would take a little bit of honey and they would put it on a board and they would write the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. What's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet? Oh my gosh, everyone's hand is up. Say it all together. 1, 2, 3. Aleph. Okay. So, and they would write an Aleph, and then what do you think they would do with it? Would they throw it in the trash? They would eat it. They would lick it off the board, and they would lick the honey. Because we pray that all of the learning that they did and all of the learning that you will do will be sweet like honey, and maybe a little sticky. Maybe it'll stick to you, just the way that honey does too. Or maybe it'll be healing the way that honey and tea, when you're sick, makes you better. So maybe it will have all of these special powers in the world and will be there to protect you. So I know, Aleph class, that you have done so much amazing learning already this year. That you have been learning about Judaism, that you have been learning about the Hebrew letters, you have been learning prayers, and that you are now halfway-ish in your Aleph year, and that we hope that this is just the beginning of all of the study that you will embark on of Torah and of Judaism, and that all of it will always be sweet. So today we have a special gift for you. So you know, I think, what it is. It's not a surprise, but it is wrapped. So earlier this week, you each got to make your very own ark, your very own Aron HaKodesh. And today, you will receive your own little Torah to put inside that ark. And with it, also some honey sticks. So if you want to try this experiment at home, I invite you to do so. I apologize in advance, parents, grandparents, anyone else who's here, but it is kind of fun. Just, tie the hair back and put on, clothes that can be washed. But you're all going to get your very own Torah. And I hope that just as you will have your very own Torah, and it will have all of the same words that are in our Torah scrolls, those big, beautiful, giant Torah scrolls you saw. But I hope that as you take your Torah into your hands, and as you take all the Torah that you're going to receive in your life into your hands and into your heart, that you'll cherish it, you'll hold on to it always, and that you'll also find a way to make it your own. And so that I look forward to continuing to hear and to learn from you all of your unique interpretations and your approaches to Torah, because I learn so much from you as we continue to have these conversations, since every person has their own Torah to teach in the world. So I can't wait for you to discover what that is for you, and for me to learn from you as you do. So, do you want to say something and then we'll present them? Okay, go ahead.
So first I want to ask Mauritania to come on up. So I just want to say,
Don't you want to?
I just want to say a very special thank you to Mauritania for everything that you have done this year so far, and that you're going to continue doing as you help launch this amazing group of children.
And there are amazing group here tomorrow.
Jewish learning. And we hope that just as Rabbi Roning said, that we hope not only that learning and that your Jewish journey be sweet, but that you're learning with us at BTBJ and with your teachers here and with your parents here and this whole community, that it will continue to be sweet. Would you like to call them up?
Sure. Alex Greenfield. Molly Siegel. Pierce Horn. Maya Goldstein. Maya Hirsch.
Yeah. They're the honey sticks.
They have the honey in them, and it makes it easier to eat, and it makes less of a mess.
Not right this second.
You'll have to wait until we're very done, and then you can ask your parents.
Thank you. So parents, I want to invite you now to turn again to that back page where you found the 5-book strut and look just on the page opposite. And I want to invite you to join me for this parents' prayer. And then as we get down to it, we also have a special blessing for thanking God for keeping us alive and sustaining us and helping us to reach this moment. So please join me at the top of the page. We have come to this sanctuary to thank God for the many favors we have been granted, for the privilege of giving life and sustaining it, for the happy experience of childhood within our households, for the unending love that flows between parents and child, for the gift of tradition we have been given and which we now convey to our child, for the opportunity to help our children study Torah, for this house of God where ritual and prayer are combined with caring and warmth, for the teachers whose dedication has guided our children, and for our children themselves, for their happy faces, for their inquisitive minds, for their innocent curiosity, and for the faith that will sustain them in their growing years. For all these things, we thank our Creator as we recite this blessing of appreciation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh. Amen. So we'll close out our service tonight. We can either flip to page 75 for the parents' blessing there, or we can sing another version. We do have a good number of our chorus folks with us tonight. Where's Dahlia?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking at.
Oh, you should go get it.
I think she'll hear it and she'll like start
So I'm
running
going to give
in.
I'm
It'll
going
be
to give
fun.
some announcements while we get ready for our final blessing. So tomorrow morning we have services here at 9:30 to 12. We also have junior congregation, and
Caroline is wonderful and love to see your children's beautiful bright faces.
yes, so Maura Caroline, who is one of our Jala teachers, will be leading junior congregation. And in the service in here, Michael and Paula Dvorak will be speaking about a civil rights mission from Federation and JCRC that they went on in the fall, right before the high holidays. And so they're going to share a little bit about that tomorrow as we celebrate, all of us together, Martin Luther King Jr. Day this weekend. And so MLK, this is actually his birthday. So we celebrate yard sites, but this is actually his birthday. Martin Luther King would have been 94 years old had he lived. And so it is incredible to think about all that this man accomplished in the short time that he was with us on this earth, and perhaps all that could have been done had he continued. And so I will also encourage all of you, as I know that many folks are off on Monday, maybe you're already signed up to take part in some sort of service on Sunday or on Monday. We will be doing some here at Religious School on Sunday, but maybe you all already have something planned on Monday. If you don't, there is still space in the Federation J Kid Philly program that they're doing at Temple Ambler and the Morris Arboretum, I think, or maybe it's at Morris Arboretum, but that's also part of Temple Ambler. So if you go to the J Kid Philly website, you can still sign up. It's at 10. I think it's at 10 to 11:30. Or I would also encourage you to just DIY your own project. You can pick up. That's what we're doing. You can pick up kits at Cedar's house on Northwestern Ave if you want to clean up the Wissahickon. A couple of years ago, we did a whole lot of baking of cookies here, delivering them to local firehouses and police stations. So there's so many things that we can do all together or in the privacy of our homes to find a way to make the world a better place and to continue that legacy of service that Martin Luther King inspired for so many of us. And then on January 22nd, we have a great program here right after Minyan. The ADL will be presenting a program on anti-Semitism and some of the sort of extremist groups that we might be seeing in the air today, and kind of giving us some context and understanding about that. There's folks from the community joining us, and we invite you to come stay after Minyan and join us as well. So there are many other things going on always at BCBJ, and I encourage you to look in your pamphlet. The one other thing I will say is January 27th and 28th, we are bringing back Shabbaton, which is probably new for most of you because we haven't been able to do it the last 3 years. So Shabbaton will not involve sleeping at a camp this year because it was complicated, but will be sort of like a Mahaneh BTBJ, Camp BTBJ, here at BTBJ, Friday night and all day Saturday. So come for one, come for both. There's going to be lots of fun activities, games, and opportunities to just be with one another, to get to know other families, and to have some nice time to hang out. So we hope you can join us. And if you haven't been before, talk to us. We'd love to tell you more about it. It is the highlight of many people's BTBJ experiences. So Brenna can attest. If you have questions, ask Brenna. So, Maya? So the honey sticks are because honey is sweet. And we hope that all of your Torah learning that you've had and that you will have in your life will always be sweet as well. So if you want to eat the honey stick later at home or with your parents, then they can help you open it. It's a little tricky to open. You might even need scissors. But maybe you can kind of have some of that and even share some of the sweet things that you've learned so far, or maybe some of the questions that you have that you hope you'll learn in the future. Sound good? Just like apples and honey, similar idea. So we're going to end with a blessing which is traditional for parents to offer to their children on Friday nights. It's our priestly blessing. And instead of doing the version in our Siddur, we are going to take that and ramp it up a notch and sing the version that our youth chorale, many of our members are here on the Bima today, had learned to sing with Naomi Les when she was here back in December. So if you have loved ones near you and you would like to snuggle them, that is totally okay. Feel free to put your arms around one another. We learned last week that you should put both your hands on their head if you'd like, or maybe one. The right one is the stronger one. Feel free to snuggle. And if you know the words, join with us. And if not, just listen and you'll know them because we're going to be singing this a lot. Yeah. May you be like our ancient brothers and live in peace and kindness. May you be like our ancient mothers, live bravely and be strong. May you be most importantly like you. Yivarecha Adonai Yisraecha Ya'er Adonai Panav Michunecha Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha V'yasem Lecha Shalom. Yivarecha shine through you. Yivarecha keep safe and true to help you to feel whole. Yivarecha shine through you. Yivarecha keep safe and true. V'yasem lecha shalom. V'yasem lecha shalom. Shabbat shalom, everyone. And mazel tov to all of our Aleph students and all of our Aleph families. And I have to kiss a boo-boo. And please join us out in the lobby for some oneg and dessert.